뭐야? 됐어. Hi everyone. So, hi everyone. I hope you guys are here for my in-depth explanation for the 2021 scholarship application. So currently we have four of you guys. So let's give it a bit more time before I officially start. So hi everyone, welcome. So currently I have 11 of you guys. I'm going to give it around 10 minutes or more so that I can wait for more people to come in, because what I'm going to be doing today is I'll be going through, I actually downloaded the 2021 GKS undergraduate application myself, and I actually read through every single guideline in order for me to share with you guys. So I actually really read it very in depth. So I made sure I really knew what I was reading so that I can explain it to you guys. So for the first part of this live, I will be going through the application guidelines. So I hope that you guys have already downloaded the application guidelines for undergraduate degrees from the studyinkorea.com website or your Korean embassy website. So I will be going through the different guidelines one by one, and I'll be explaining them along the way. And I'll be emphasizing on a few guidelines that a lot of you have been asking me on my Instagram or on my YouTube, talking about the grades, for example, your grade transcript. So this is very important. So I hope that you guys are ready with the guideline on hand so that I can tell you guys what to take note of, and you guys can immediately highlight it or star it and note it down because it is really important. So we have like around 7 minutes left. So I'm just going to give you guys a brief talk through about what I'm going to be doing with you guys. So I currently have 16 of you guys here. Hi everyone. So basically, I'll be going through the application guidelines, and at the very end, I'll be answering some of your questions. So keep your questions to the end. Currently, it is 10:04 here in Korea. So I'm going to wait to around 10:10 before I officially begin. So I hope you guys have your application guidelines with you so that I can go through one by one with you guys, and you guys can note down what is it that you have to take note of if you're applying for the undergraduate scholarship this year. This year, I saw that a lot of the application has started, and it is ending in around mid-October. So how are your preparation going, everyone? So because I'm going to be giving this like around 5 more minutes so that I can have more people come in first before I commence. Hi, Jamie. Welcome. Hi, Ingrid. Hi, I'm alive. So I actually left like what I'm going to be doing in the live chat above. So make sure you go check that out. I'll be really going and diving into the application guidelines for the undergraduate degrees. I read through all of it, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys what you guys have to take note. And yes, so a lot of the questions that I received on my YouTube and Instagram is actually quite complicated, but actually a lot of the answers for the questions that a lot of you guys have asked are actually in the guidelines. So I'm going to be explaining it really, really in depth for all of you, because I understand that maybe you guys, some of you might have trouble understanding the guidelines, like the English or whatever, and coming from a perspective where I have actually done it before. So Hi, Pia. Hi, Aryan. Nice to see you guys. What time is it over at your country now? Because it is currently 10:06. I'm going to be waiting to around 10:10 before I officially begin. So as I mentioned, make sure you guys have your 2021 application guidelines with you because I'll be going through it very, very in depth. So make sure you have that document next to you with a pen or a highlighter so that you guys can highlight and make sure you guys like star whatever I mentioned, because I actually did a lot of research for you guys. I went around to ask my friends about the grade transcript that you've been asking me, like for those of you who are in high school. So I'll be talking about it as I go along the guidelines for you guys as well. Q&A, I'll do it at the very end, so keep your questions first. And if this whole live gets too long, I will do a separate Q&A maybe tomorrow or on Sunday for those of you who have further questions after listening to my explanation on the guidelines. So there's like 3 minutes left currently. It is 6:35 in India, 2:08 in Indonesia, I believe, and Priya is 8 p.m. So Ingrid says, I think I have everything ready, but I always fail in the interview. Can't interact much on this live since I'm at work. It's all right, Ingrid. If you are worried about the interview, I actually did a very, very in-depth video on how to ace the KGSP interview. So in that video, I actually mentioned how what were the questions that I've been asked, what were the questions that a lot of my friends who actually received the scholarship have been asked as well. So Ingrid, if you are interested, you can always go check out the interview. I shared a lot of tips on how you can actually excel in the interview. So don't worry. Jamie, it's 2:08 in Morocco. I'm so sorry. I hope you guys have eaten your dinner, your lunch. It is currently 10 p.m. So I am here. Oh, we have 20 of you guys here. 2 more minutes before I officially start, but make sure you guys have your guidelines with you. It's really important because you will be writing down a lot of notes. You'll be highlighting them. So you make sure you have a pen, a highlighter, and then you'll be scribbling away. Okay, so it is really nice to see all of you. Make sure you like this Q&A because it means a lot to me and it means that I'm doing something right for all of you. And if you are new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Yes, so okay, let's give it 2 more minutes. Oh, you're from Brazil. It's 10:08. All right. So we have friends from all over the world. So yes. All right. So yeah, Brazil. Hi. So I hope you guys have the guidelines ready with you. We are gonna start really, really soon. So I hope that everyone is around here. I think some people are going to be late, but don't worry because hi, Jarina. So I mentioned that I'm going to be starting soon. So make sure you have the application guidelines for the undergraduate degrees. Have a pen, highlighter with you because I'll be giving a lot of tips and things that you need to take note from the application guidelines. So it is really important. So make sure you have them with you right now before I begin. So all right. Hi from Thailand. Sawadika. Hi, Izzy. Hi. All right, Jimmy. Yes, sit in a comfy place. Get a pen. Have a cup of drink with you. You can have some popcorn, and we will start really, really soon. Oh yes, okay. It's 10:10 now, so I'm going to be starting. So make sure before I start, make sure you give this live Q&A a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So let's begin. So first, let's take a look at the application guidelines, okay? So I'll be saving this live as well for those of you who might be late or for those of you who need to look back on this live because there will be a lot of very useful information for all of you. So let's take a look at the first page of the 2021 Global Career Scholarship. You can see the cover page that is written with Korean and English. It says 2021 정부 초청 외국인 학부 장학생 모집 요강. And then it says 2020 September 교육부 국립국제학교 교육원. This is the NIIED. And then the second page, you will have the table of contents. So let's move on. And then they go through like all the program objectives, the available program. Okay, this is something that a lot of you need to be aware of and something that you guys need to remember. So some of you guys who have been asking me about like the Korean language program and how long the whole duration might be, for the bachelor's degree, you will probably have to go through a total of 5 years here in Korea. So for those of you who have no topic certification, I believe it is, I think, topic level 3, topic level 4 minimum. And if you don't have that, you will have to go through 1 full year of Korean language program before you can start your studies in undergraduate. So they have another degree this year as well. They have the associate degree, which is a total of 3 or 4 years. So moving on, let's take a look at the number of expected grantees. So this one is telling you how many people they will be selecting this year. So in the next part, we have the embassy track. That's the point where we talk about the embassy track, right? So they have an embassy track quota for each country. So take a look at which country you belong to. For example, in Morocco, they will be choosing 1 scholar this year for undergraduate studies. And maybe in Singapore, we have 2. And for people from Cambodia, we have 2 as well. Brazil, we have 3. Hi, Abhishek Meto. I mentioned that I'll be going through the guidelines first, and then at the very end of the live, I'll be doing the Q&A. And along the way, I'll be talking about how to fill in your grades as well. So keep your questions first, because I'll be going through one by one. So have your guidelines with you, and I'm going to be going through each of them. Okay, so so this is a very important. The embassy track quota is important because I think because of the coronavirus, there are 5 boxes. How much to be filled? Abhishek, I mentioned I'll be talking about it later, so be patient. So please be patient, all right? Let's talk about the embassy track quota first. So for those of you who are considering whether you want to go via the embassy track or you want to go via the university track, this is very important. So in my year, when I was applying for my master's degree, I noticed that there were like 3 people that will be chosen from Singapore. But then in the following year, my friend, which is this year, there were actually 8 people who were chosen for the scholarship. But then I think because of the coronavirus, I think the government is trying to cut down on the number of scholars. So it is really important for you to take a look to see how many scholars are actually going to be chosen this year. Because if you feel that the embassy track, for example, maybe in Afghanistan, there will only be 1 person who might be chosen, then you might consider another path, which is the university track, maybe because there is more higher possibility that you can get it there. Hi, Hachiro. Good morning from Peru. Hi. Yes, I've been great. So I'm doing this live to help those of you who are hoping to sign up for the KGSP-Undergraduate. So make sure you have the guidelines with you, right? So moving on, let's take a look. Overseas Korean, I don't think we have any overseas Korean here, so you can skip that. So moving on to the next point in the guideline, which is something that I highlighted. So take out your pen and highlighter and start marking it down. This is the point where it says, embassy track applicants must submit their application documents to the Embassy of the Republic of Korea in their respective countries of citizenship and can apply to all available fields of study offered by 38 designated universities. Okay, so let's take a look at the front part of this point. So those of you who have been asking me about where to submit your application documents, this is important because if you are applying via the embassy track, you will need to submit all of your documents to the Korean embassy in your home country. In your home country, meaning it is where you were born, it is where you have your citizenship. So for example, if you are from Kazakhstan, you have to submit it to the Korean embassy in Kazakhstan. If you are a Malaysian who is currently staying overseas, like maybe in another country, you would have to go back to Malaysia to submit your documents. This is very important because a lot of people have been asking me over my Instagram very similar questions. So I think it is very important for me to address this issue. Okay, so moving on, let's look at the second part of this point, which says applicants can choose among universities in both Type A and Type B, but must include at least one university from Type B. So this is the one that a lot of you have been asking me in my first two live talking about KGSP. So I think they are trying to make sure that there is a balance for people who are applying to for the KGSP. So I think in the previous years, a lot of people have been applying to universities, mainly in Seoul. So they're trying to balance it out, and hopefully people will start to apply for the universities outside of Seoul, which I think they consider it under Type P. So Type B, the whole list of Type B, you can find it at the back part of the guidelines. We will go there in a moment. So remember, you have to do at least Type A and Type B. So you have three choices for your KGSP, right? Which means you have to do a first choice, second choice, third choice. So out of these three choices, you need to have at least one of each type. So if you are hoping to have maybe go to Seoul National University, you would have one Type A, and then you have to have at least one other Type B, maybe Busan University, and then for the third choice, you can choose either Type A or Type B. So I hope that clarifies for those of you who have been asking me about how to choose which schools to go to, what are the choices. So okay, then moving on, we'll skip the third and fourth part. Let's move on to the university track. So here, university track, you can see that there are not as many countries that they will be choosing from. They have Brunei, Cambodia, India, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Singapore. So if, for example, if you don't see your country's name in this part of the university track, then that means that you would have to apply via the embassy track. But if, for example, you are maybe Singaporean or Malaysian, you realize that university track, they are choosing 3, and then you realize that in the embassy track, they are actually choosing maybe same 3 as well. So you have to weigh your chances to see, okay, I think I have more a higher possibility of getting the scholarship if I apply via the embassy track. So you apply via the embassy track. But if you think about it and you go, okay, maybe there'll be too many people signing up for the embassy track. So in order to secure myself a spot, I will go through the trouble and apply via the university track. So this is how you can weigh your options for those of you who are having a lot of worries and troubles thinking about whether you should go via the embassy track or the university track. So I hope that helped. So moving on, we have the associate degree as well. And then following the next point, they say applicants who plan to apply to GKS through the university track must submit their applications to the university of their choice. This is very important. So as I mentioned, for those of you who are applying via the embassy track, you'll be submitting your documents to the Korean embassy in your home country. But then if you're applying via the university track, you would then have to submit your application to the university that you want to go. So if you're going via the university, maybe if you have 3 choices, you will have to submit to all 3 universities on your own and by yourself. So I hope that clarifies. And next, the next point says, among the assigned 95 university track quota, 60 candidates will be separately selected from the regional university applicants who apply for natural science and engineering majors. And 35 candidates will be selected from 6 associate degree universities. So this is telling you that they are selecting 60 candidates out of this whole quota, and they'll be selecting them for the regional universities. So this is what I mentioned about they are trying to make sure that there's a balance. Not everyone is going to be in Seoul. So for those of you who are hoping to study in Korea and you are hoping to maybe you are keeping your options open. You're not so bound to be, I have to study in Seoul. And if you're interested and you're all right with going to universities outside of Seoul, then this is will be of some help to you as well, because it means that they are choosing more people for the scholarship, which is a very good thing for us to know if we are hoping to get the scholarship, right? Okay, so let's move on. So this is something that you have to note as well. For those of you who are hoping to go via the university track, you would need to choose the option general for the type of application. So this is very important. Make sure you highlight it, scribble it, and like star it down somewhere. Okay. So moving on, let's take a look at the available universities and fields of study. So a lot of you have been asking me which university I should go, and here it actually tells you what schools belong to type A and what schools belong to type B. So for those of you who are interested, you can take a look at the guidelines. So for the type A universities, there are only 14 universities, quite not a lot. So you have to make sure you look really carefully. And for type B, there are 24 universities, quite a lot, a wider variety of choice. Hi, Hiba. My pleasure. Okay, moving on. So next, we have the university track. So if you look at the university track, you can see that they say that regional university track only for natural science and engineering majors, you have 24 institutions. So they are choosing people who are majoring in natural science and engineering. I think that is like the niche that the Korean government are hoping to venture or expand. So they are hoping to look for more international foreign talent. So you have to make sure you take a good look at what universities are available before you apply for the scholarship. All right, so let's move on. Available fields of study. It says you can skip the first one. Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me where to download the application documents, which is, hey, Achan, it's all right. I will save the live, so make sure you just watch it back afterwards, all right? Don't worry. So a lot of people have been asking where you can actually download the application form, the application guidelines. Actually, all of them, they are on the website studyinkorea.go.kr, or you can actually check your Korean embassy website, because a lot of the documents can actually be found there. So moving on, let's take a look at the second point. So this second point is really, really important, because it says applicants must choose their majors that are only listed in the university information file. So before downloading this application, there are actually other documents as well. You have like which universities, which majors are available. So this is something that you need to check before applying for the scholarship. And you know why? Because if you're applying for a major that is not listed in the university information file, it means that the Korean embassy can just scrape your application, which means you will not be taken into consideration no matter how good your grades are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how many awards you have. So this is something that you have to really make sure that you pay close attention to. So highlight it. Okay, moving on, it says the regional university track applicants can only apply for a major that is considered as natural science, technology, and engineering field. So this is something that you need to take note if you're hoping to apply to the universities outside of Seoul via the university track. Okay, so this is only meant for people who are going to be majoring in the major natural science, technology, and engineering major. Okay, take note. And the next point is very important. Okay, this is something that a lot of people might be worried about, which is the language that is used in the university. So in this point, it says, please be advised that even if a university, departments, or majors you intend to apply offer English taught courses, it may be subject to change depending on the circumstances. Thus, we highly advise you to double check with your university. Moreover, we would like the applicants to keep in mind that Korean is the core language to be used in every Korean university. So as much as universities might have English taught courses, like for example in GSIS, like the international schools, I would like you guys to remember that because you're going to a Korean university, it means that Korean tend to be the main language of education. So you would have to, if you're worried about whether your Korean will be up to this standard, I suggest you to check with your universities, because the universities are the most aware of what courses would be available, whether they will be English courses, whether they will be Korean courses. So if you are hoping to go to maybe Yonsei University, then I think that they have a lot more English courses there. But from what I know, and if you're hoping to maybe go to Seoul National University, which is the undergraduate, I don't think there are as much English courses available. So you really have to check via the school website, or if the school website doesn't provide you with the information, then you would have to either send an email to the school, or you can drop them a call. But I suggest you to drop them an email, because the staff actually, I think they are quite well versed in English, so you guys wouldn't face much communication barrier. So make sure you check with your university. Okay, so moving on. Next, let's take a look at, hi, but Pasha, yes, I remember you. So, okay, moving on, let's take a look at the eligibility, okay? Let's take a look at nationality. So this is very, very important, because it is something that you would have to submit as proof, to prove that you are a citizen of this particular country. So in the nationality point, if you look at the guidelines, it says, the very first point, it says, all applicants and their parents must be citizens of GKS program's partner countries that are invited to take part in this program, and must not hold Korean citizenship. So I don't think any of you guys have Korean citizenship, so this does not apply. But you would have to be, for example, citizens of the countries that is mentioned in the very beginning of the guidelines, which is found where it show you like the embassy track quota for general applicants. So Afghanistan, quota 1, Bangladesh, 1. Jane August, hi, I do Korean studies. I'm a graduate student. So currently I'm doing a live on the undergraduate application guidelines. I'm doing a very in-depth explanation. So, all right, moving on, let's take a look at the next part, which is very important. It says the age, okay? So for those of you who are applying for the undergraduate KGSP scholarship, you would have to be under 25. I think most of you are under 25, so that's not going to be an issue. For high school graduates, okay, this is something that is very, 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 very important, okay? I can't emphasize how important this is. This is what most of my questions have been about when I was doing my live, or on my Instagram, or on my YouTube videos. Okay, so for those people who are graduating from high school, or have already graduated from high school, so this is very important. So for those of you who have graduated high school, you already have your graduation certificate, which is something that you will have to submit when you are applying for the KGSP scholarship, okay? But for those of you who have not graduated from this from your high school, and you are graduating soon, they expect you to submit a graduation certificate, a certificate that says your expected graduation date, all right? So, Lahiru, hi. I will answer questions at the end of the Q&A. Let me just go through the guidelines first, because it is really important, because a lot of people have been asking me the same questions. So I'm going to address it once and for all. So for those of you who are high school students and you have not graduated, make sure you approach your school and get a certificate of expected graduation when you are applying for the scholarship. This is very important. You would have to submit it by 1st of March in 2021, the very latest, right? And if you fail to submit your high school transcript or your graduation certificate, even if you are given the scholarship, they will have to forfeit your scholarship, which is very important. I'm sure you guys don't want your hard work to go into vain. All right, so let's take a look at grades next. Okay, this is very important, because a lot of people have been asking me about grades. How do you write your grades in the application document, right? So in the application document, a lot of you guys have been saying how that there are a few columns, and how it is very confusing how to write grades, or how am I supposed to show all my grades, because my grade system is different. So let's take a look at what the guideline says, okay? It says that the grade point average, you have to write your CGPA, which is cumulative grade point average, okay? Take note of that. And in the second point, it says Bachelor's degree applicant, you have to be 80% or above on a 100-point scale, or be ranked within the top 20% within one's class. Okay, and then you have the Appendix A, which is the GPA conversion table. So a lot of people have been asking me saying that their high school grades, you only have maybe like 2 or 3 semesters, and in the column they say like 1, 2, 3, and you're supposed to fill in which semester you are in. And although I'm not from a high school, I actually asked a friend of mine who underwent like this whole undergraduate application process. So what she says is that you just have to fill in what you have. So for example, if I'm a high school student and I have 2 semesters, but they have 3 columns, so I only have to fill in the first 2 columns and leave the third column blank. All right, so you don't have to fill in every single column given to you. Okay, but the column says to provide 5 years GPA. Do I have to provide? Yes, you will have to provide all of your grade for them. Okay, and you would have to not just give your CGPA in the application document, you would have to submit your grade transcript as well, because the government is really, really strict about whether people are faking their grades. They need to make sure that your grades are legitimate. They have to make sure that you are not faking it. So they go through your grade transcript very detailed and very thoroughly. Okay, the application document with like the columns, it is just a simplified version of your grades. It is just to make it simpler for the scholarship panel so that they can have a brief idea of how your grades are like. But the most important thing that we'll be looking at is your grade transcript, which is what you will have to get it notarized if you're doing a additional copy. So okay, next move on. So in the percentile column, Bashir, you would have to do your conversion table, which is under the Appendix A. Okay, so you would have to table, which is under the Appendix A. Okay, so you would have to make sure that you go through the conversion. If there are some people who have been asking me saying that their high school grades are upon 10, while actually the CGPA given in the application is actually out of 5. So what I can say is that if you are out of 10, you just have to multiply 10 to make it 100. So for example, if you are 8 out of 10, you can multiply to 100, which means you are 80 out of 10. So that's how you would write your point of skill. But if you are worried and if you are not sure how to actually fill it, I always say to check with your Korean embassy, because they are the ones who will be going through your documents, and it is always better to play safe than sorry. And Marcel, may I know what your high school GPA was? I did not apply. I applied for the graduate degree, so I only had to submit my university CGPA. The usual GPA, I'm not sure. The scholars usually don't share what GPA they have, but obviously you would have to be, they mentioned in the guideline, you would have to be at least top 20% of your class. And they mentioned that if you are going by the 100-point percentile, you would have to be at least 80% or above. All right. So yes, YSHM asked, what if once the application starts, I still don't have my transcript because the school year just started? What will I do? Will I pass the transcript from my previous year? So what do you mean by you don't have your transcript? Because usually for example, if you're in your 3rd year of high school, you would have the transcripts for your first 2 years. So you will have to get it from your school. And in order to apply for this scholarship, you would have to be either going to graduate soon or you are a high school graduate. So I believe that if you're a high school graduate or if you are going to be graduating soon, you should be in your final year of high school. So you would probably have your transcripts from the first 2 years already. Right? So take note of that. And in the final point of the guidelines regarding grades, hi Abhishek, I actually mentioned it before, so go and take a look in the life, all right? Or you can look back at it when I save my life in the future. So in the next part of the grades, the point actually mentioned, if an applicant holds a transcript that does not include information on grade point average or is unable to convert his or her grades into any one of the GPA criteria mentioned above, the applicant must then submit an official document issued by the applicant's university describing the university's grade system. So this is very important. So for those of you who have been asking, like for example, my grade CGPA, it is not out of 5. It is out of 10, for example. You would then have to approach your university to ask them to give you an official document that can explain how the GPA system works in your respective school. This is to help the scholarship panel get to understand how your grades are given, how they can actually assess you via your grades. So it is a very important document that you have to submit. If your grades, like your CGPA, it is not out of 5, it is not out of 4.3, it is not out of 4. If, for example, your CGPA is out of 10, then that is when you have to get your school to explain how the grade system works in your school, all right? Okay, so Jane August, what major are you studying? I'm doing Korean studies. I'm a master's student for your reference. So moving on, let's take a look at health. So for the next part of the application guideline actually says that you would have to go through a whole health checkup, but that is only if you pass the second round of selection. So I mentioned that in the first round of selection is actually your interview process and your documents. So if you're selected as like one of the final few candidates, that is when you have to go through a whole medical checkup. So for those of you who are applying, you don't have to worry about this. And when you're applying, you just have to fill in the personal medical assessment, which is a form 6 in your application, all right? So you just have to fill in form 6. It is a checklist. You just have to tick yes, no, okay? Okay, so moving on. Let's take a look. So if you are tested positive on drugs, if you have a serious illness, then you might not be given the scholarship. So make sure you are a clean state of health. All right. Abhishek says, I'm graduating from school and they said that there is no grading system school in India. Abhishek, I'm sure every single school have a way of grading their students. So you will have to approach your school to make sure that they are able to explain how your grades are given. Like for example, how your A, your B, your C, A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus is given. So make sure you get it from the school, all right? So moving on, let's take a look at the restriction on applying to this program. Hi Leah, kumawa. So I'm not sure what CBSE is. I'm sorry, Abhishek. If you can explain it in the chat, it would be great. So moving on, let's take a look at the restriction on applying to this KGSP program, okay? So for those of you who have already graduated high school in Korea, you are not allowed to apply, so you have to graduate from high school back at home, okay? And if you have a bachelor's degree at home, or like in your home country, then you're not allowed to apply as well. So basically, they want you to be fresh high school graduates. Yes, okay, moving on. If you have a criminal history, then you are not allowed to apply. Central Board of Senior Education in India, then I think that you will have to contact your Korean embassy to explain your circumstances, your situation, for them to help you. So yes, moving on. Let's take a look at Hi Laiba, I will explain this in the next part, so give me some time. Please be patient. I'm going through one by one, okay? So next part, this is very important as well. The guideline says that an applicant can only apply for one track and cannot apply for multiple track. This means that if you're applying via the university track, you cannot apply via the embassy track. You can only choose one, all right? So you cannot choose via two. In any situation that you apply for both, the embassy is going to find out, and then they will just forfeit both of your applications. So please don't take the risk of applying to both the university track and the embassy track. Just choose one. If not, you're going to be disqualified from this scholarship, and that is going to be really annoying because you have to wait for the following year. So please remember, you can only choose one track, okay? So Yes, it is mandatory to submit the description of your school's grading system. I mentioned it while explaining before. The scholarship panel will need to have a way of understanding how your grading system works. Okay, so moving on, let's take a look at preference, okay? So for those of you who have received topic level 3, 4, 5, or 6, will be given an extra 10 points of the total marks, which means you will be given more leverage over others, okay, when you are doing the evaluation. So for example, if there are two people, A, B, A has topic level 3 and above, while B does not have any form of topic level 3 and above. So this topic A, this A person has a higher chance of getting the scholarship. So I hope that helps. Moving to the next part, descendants of Korean War veterans will receive additional 5% of the total marks, right? So if you guys have relatives who or your parents took part in the Korean War, then you would be able to receive 5% more of the total marks. And for those of you who have been asking me about your proficiency in English, then you would have to, you'll then be given a higher preference rate as well. So if you are having like, if you have a proficiency score in English, like TOEFL, TOEIC, or IELTS, you'll be given a preference by the scholarship panel. So if you're, and something that you have to take note is that any language proficiency test score or certificates that are outdated or have passed the validity period is not going to be considered. So make sure that it is within the date, the expiry date. I know that I think it's probably 2 years. So if it is expired, please go and take the proficiency test. All right. Okay, moving on. The next part, which talks about embassy track applicants who apply for majors in the field of natural science and engineering may be given priority during the evaluation process when they receive the same marks with other candidates. So as I mentioned, that I think the Korean government is trying to expand in the field of natural science and engineering. So if you are hoping to major in this major, then good for you because you are given more priority in the evaluation process. So this is something that you have to take note as well. So, okay, let's take a look. Some of you guys are asking me some questions. Jane August asked, I've graduated technical college, which is considered high school. How can I call this an education properly? I'm not exactly very sure, but I think if your country considers it to be high school, then you guys, then you can just write it down as high school, okay? So, and once again, for those of you guys who are new to this live, please give this live a thumbs up. That's very important because it means that I can do more live in the future, right? So please give this a thumbs up. Next, moving on, Paipasha asked, yes, thank you, Paipasha. Yes, so it has its grading system transcript. So please contact your school. Eliza Pakyerin says, I wrote my essays in Korean. Can I get a more high chance? I think it depends. I wrote mine in English, and from what I know, all of my friends wrote their essays in English. Writing in Korean might not necessarily give you a higher leverage because what they are looking for is actually the topic level 3 and above. So as I mentioned, if you have topic level 3 or above, that is when they will give you additional 10 points of the total marks. So if you feel, but if you're more confident in your Korean compared to your English, then maybe writing in Korean would be better because it can help you get your points across much better and much faster. But if you're more confident in English, I would say that just keep your essays to English because writing it in Korean doesn't necessarily mean that you have a higher chance. Okay, so Abhishek, I already mentioned how to fill in the 5 boxes, so please go and take a look. Okay, moving on. So Eliza, if your school has a certificate of medium in English, then I think you wouldn't have to show your proficiency in English. I think you would have to show the proficiency, not proficiency, sorry. You have to show that your school is medium of instruction is in English to the Korean embassy, just in case. Okay, so no, you can only submit either English or Korean, Eliza. So because they have a limit that you have to submit. I think it's 1 page for your personal statement and 1 page each for your study plan, statement of purpose. So make sure you just choose one. Submitting both might backfire as well. 미우 조님 무슨 과 다니세요? 미우 어디 국적 어떻게 되세요? 저는 지금 한국학과 다니고 있어요. 사실 제가 석사 과정인데, 근데 제가 KGSP 비슷한 과정이 해가지고, 사실 지금 제가 이렇게 그 학부 학생들 도와주기로, 잠깐만, 나 한국어라 좀 잠깐 이상해졌어요. I'm speaking like English and suddenly switching to Korean, so bear with me, okay? 미우님, 어디에서 오셨어요? 그 국적 한번 알려주세요. 저는 한국학과입니다. 근데 저는 석자 과정이라서 그 좀 다르습니다. 만약에 다른 과, 태국이나 안녕하세요 아니네. 사와디카. So yes, okay. So moving on, let's take a look at the next part. Okay, so hi Bipasha, I'm gonna explain this at the end, right? But Christina, is this the Christina I know? So by Persia, I actually have a very in-depth video talking about how to write your study plan. So please go and check that out first. I'll answer your question at the end of this Q&A live. Sorry. Christina, being from Singapore, do we still have to submit English proficiency documents? No, Christina, you don't have to. Christina, if you are the Christina I know, please contact me. All right, I will let you know. So you don't have to submit English proficiency documents because we are from Singapore. You have the school is an English-speaking country. The country is an English-speaking country. Okay, so moving on. So for those of you who are from low-income families or underprivileged backgrounds, you guys will be given preference as well. So this is very important because I actually received the questions. Some people actually were concerned whether they would be at a disadvantage if they are from underprivileged backgrounds, but actually it is rather good in the sense that because this is a scholarship, the government is trying to help people from underprivileged backgrounds. So this is very important for those of you who are interested, okay? So next, the next part talks about the required documents that you need. This is just very important. So take out your pen, highlighter, star it, highlight it, all right? Okay, so let's take a look. Application form is the first part. Personal statement, study plan. You need to have 2 letters of recommendation. So if you guys watched my first video talking about how to apply for KGSP, you need to have 2 letters of recommendation, which means you can get your high school teachers to write your recommendation for you. It'll be best if it is a teacher who you personally know, like for example, your teacher in charge, your classroom teacher, or who can actually give a very fair assessment of how you are as a student, your grades, your attitude towards study. So bear that in mind. Write it down. If you have a Korean teacher, you can ask your Korean teacher to write the recommendation for you as well, all right? So moving on, you need to sign the GKS applicant agreement. You need to do your personal medical assessment. And then you need to submit your high school graduate certificate or your expected graduation certificate, okay? This is very important. As I mentioned, you need to get it notarized. If you guys have only just 1 copy of your graduation certificate, you will not be able to get back your documents, which means that you would need to then, I don't know, have to get your school to give you another one, which is going to be really troublesome. So please get copies of your graduation certificate and get it notarized by a notary, right? Okay. So Minjong Fatima ask, can a recommender write the recommendation letter instead of typing it? I don't think that is going to be an issue, but for me, I got my professor to type it out instead because I think they were more comfortable with it. As long as they can justify that they wrote the recommendation letter, I think it is all right. But if you are concerned whether it would be neat, like whether it be like the handwriting would be visible, I would say maybe typing it out would be a safer option, because what if the writing is not eligible for the scholarship panel to read, you know? It is always better to type it out, I would say. Eliza says, how about the recently school attended? Should I include the elementary too? I think you just have to include your high school. As for Your primary school, I'm not sure. You have to check with your Korean embassy because they have a specific set of guidelines that they need you to follow. Okay, Ayushi, yes, you need to get it notarized. All right. It is okay if I get the recommendation letter from the NGO where I volunteer. Yes, you can, Laiba. It is not restricted to your it is not restricted to your school. You can give it to your NGO where you're volunteering at. Meu, could you please guide me on how to details that? 매우님, 사실 제가 제 채널에서 되게 자세하게 KGSP 시리즈 사실 제가 이미 만들었어요. 이거는 그냥 라이브 어떻게 작성해야 되는지 만약에 그 고민하고 계시면 먼저 두 번째 영상 한번 보고 만약에 질문 더 있으시면 여기서 남겨주시면 제가 답변해드리겠습니다. 두 번째 영상 거기 가면 제가 되게 자세하게 좀 설명해 드렸거든요. 제가 어떻게 썼는지, 제 스터디 플랜 어떻게 작성했는지 다 거기 이미 설명해가지고 한번 보는 게 좋을 겁니다. Next, let's take a look. As portal and notarized are different, right? For me, I just notarized it. I didn't had to go through like the whole apostolization process. So for me, I just need to do notarization. But if you are worried, it is always better to check with your Korean embassy. Park Yerim asks, I'm applying through the university track. Is it allowed to ask questions in the Korean embassy in my country? I think it is all right. But to be fair, the process for the university track and the Korean embassy track is rather different. So I would say if you're going through the university track, it would be better for you to email the university and get your doubts clarified via the university because that is the best case scenario. Okay, so moving on. Okay, this is very, very important, guys. Please take note of this part of the guidelines. It says notes for all applicants. Okay, the first part, all application documents need to be in Korean or in English. Okay, so for example, if your recommendation letter is not in Korean or not in English, you would have to get it translated and then get it notarized. All right, but then there is a whole issue about your recommendation letter cannot be, your seal must be intact. If the seal is removed, then they will not take into account. So you need to check with the Korean embassy about how to go about that. For example, do they allow you to open up the recommendation letter for you to get it translated and then notarized, or maybe the professor will have to get it notarized themselves? This is something that it is very important and it's something that you need to check with your Korean embassy. Okay. Laiva, is it okay to self-study Korean and write this in the application that I self-studied? It will be a plus point. You can write it in your personal statement saying that you have self-studied Korean, but what they are looking out for is actually the topic level proficiency test. So you can say that you can include it in like your personal statement, but you can't write it in your awards because you have not taken the proficiency test. So bear that in mind. So next, all application documents that are written in documents written in languages other than Korean or English must accompany a complete Korean or English translation authenticated by the issuing institution or notarized by a notary public. This is very important. Highlight it, star it. Yes. Okay, so moving on. All application documents must be presented in their original forms. If an applicant has to submit photocopied documents, applicant must have the photocopies notarized. It's either one. So just now, who was asking me about? So Ayushi, it is either notarization or you can get it done like a consular confirmation. So it's either one thing, all right? So please make sure you get your photocopies notarized. If not, they would have to. What is a NIIED pledge? I'm sorry, YSH. Please explain. So for those of you who are worried about like notarization, you have to get how to do it. You can call your embassy because I was not sure how to do it then, so I had to call and ask the Korean embassy how to do it. All right. So this is another very important one. All documents submitted to the NIID will not be returned to the applicants in any case. So, which is why they would need you to submit your documents in the form of like photocopies that have been notarized by the notary public. Okay. Yes. Oh, no. Marcel, they also mentioned in the document, the guidelines. Okay, I will get to that part. So give me a while. So application documents needs to be submitted in the order of the checklist. So you need to number and label every single document for your documents. For example, certificate of a high school graduation on the top right corner. This is how you make sure that your application is not going to be disqualified or forfeited by the Korean embassy. So what I advise you guys to do is to get files. Each file, I think you need to submit 4 copies for the embassy track. So please arrange it via like a file and then submit it to the Korean embassy. All right. So moving on. The recommendation letters must be written by 2 different recommenders who can give you a thorough assessment on the applicant's academic abilities. So it will be best to get a teacher to write it for you, where they can assess how your grades are like. If you're hoping to get like your NGO where you volunteer at, it might not be the best, but if you are hoping to do so, you can still do it. And this is very important because they say that letters with broken seal or signed will be considered invalid. Okay, and I'm going to this part where Marcel asked me. It says for awards and certificates of accomplishments, photocopies are acceptable. So this is where you don't have to get it notarized. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Michelle. Next, the proof of citizenship is something that is very important. They require that of you, your parents' citizenship as well. They mentioned that award certificates. Okay, next. So should I omit the word Form 2, Form 3, etc.? Yes, you don't have to. If Eliza, if you're talking about like the one on the top right-hand corner, you just have to write like 7 dot. It doesn't matter actually. You can just write in Form 2, Form 7 certificate of high school graduation. YSH says the Philippine embassy require us to pass an NIED pledge. I'm quite confused about what is it. I've never heard of the NIED pledge actually. I think you will have to check with your Korean embassy to make sure you know what is it. I'm sorry, I can give you a definite answer. I usually says our final explanation. Yes, my award certificates were not notarized when I submitted it. I usually ask, our final examination might be delayed due to the pandemic, and there are chances that I might not get my high school grad certificate by then or not. Okay, this is really tricky. If you are in the final semester of your high school and this is your final examination, then I think you can still submit it. You can submit expected graduation certificate and to the Korean embassy, and then when you finally graduated and if you are given the scholarship, then you can submit your final certificate of graduation to the Korean embassy then. Okay, I hope that helped. Moving on, the proof of citizenship must be government issued document. So for example, you need to submit an original birth certificate, original family register, or passport copies of yourself and your applicant and your parents. So you don't have to notarize your passport copies. That is what I did. I took that way out. I just submitted passport copies of myself and my parents' passport copies. Okay. So for those of you who are applying via the embassy track, you need to submit a total of 4 documents. One set is the original application documents, and then 3 sets are actually photocopied application documents. So please bear that in mind, okay? While for the university track applicants, you must submit 1 set of original application documents, just 1 set, because you're submitting to the university yourself, right? Okay, so next, it is not that important. The next part that is important is the university and field of study choice. For embassy track applicants must choose 3 different desired universities and available fields of studies among the 38 universities listed in section 3. Type A and Type B. So you must include at least 1 university from Type B. So I explained this in the very beginning of my life. So I hope that helps. Okay, moving on. For those of you who are interested on how the selection procedure works, for Bapasha, you only have 1 original birth certificate. How can we submit that? You will have to do a photocopy and get it notarized at a notary public. Yes, that's how it works. Ayushi, thus the university track also has a March deadline for high school graduation certificate. I think so, yes. That it is written in the guidelines. They say that you will have to submit by 1st March of 2021. So please take note. If for those of you who are interested in how the selection procedure works, the first round of selection is where you submit your documents to the Korean embassy. And then, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so moving on, selection procedure. After you submit your application to the Korean embassy, then that is when they will have to look through all your documents, and then they will see whether they want to have the interview with you. So after you go through the interview, they will announce the first round of successful candidates from the embassy. So from my experience is that for those of you who passed the first round of selection, it is kind of like 80% confirmed unless you have a health issue that is shown in the medical examination, or if the schools are not taking you in, then that is when your scholarship might be jeopardized. So that is what you have to remember. For the embassy track applicants, you will have to go through a total of 3 rounds. So it is quite complicated, but for the university track, you will just have one in the first round and the second round. So this is important for you guys to bear in mind. And at the bottom part of the guidelines, they have the whole selection timeline. So it is very important for you guys to take note of these deadlines, okay? Because a lot of people have been asking me when I can submit it. So it's all written in the guidelines for you guys to take a look, okay? So that is all for me. I will be taking questions for now. So please write down your questions in the live chat and I'll be answering them. Okay, so let's take a look at the first few questions that I have, all right? So, okay, so let's take a look. Sarah, hi. Hello. I have a question. Are 2 pages enough for study plan for undergraduate degree? I think there is actually a limit. I think 2 pages is actually too much. From what I know is that they actually want you to write 1 page each, if I'm not wrong. So please check your guidelines and your application. So for me, if I'm looking at the application document now, let me take a look, okay? So basically, for your study plan, they want you to write within 3 pages. So I believe that it is language study plan 1 page, goal of study and study plan 1 page, and then future plan of the study is the final page. Okay, so for those of you who are new, hi Pelakom, please give this Q&A a thumbs up. Thumbs up, it's very important. Okay, so next, Christina, is this the Christina that I know? I think it is, yes. Hi, Christina. Will my polytechnic diploma be considered as a high school grad certificate? Yes, I think that counts. So you just have to make sure you get your certificate photocopied and then notarized and then submit it to the Korean embassy, okay? So IZ says, topic test in my country has been postponed due to the corona, so I'm not able to submit it on time. Can I submit the old topic score that is already outdated? That's all I have to prove my Korean proficiency. So I think easy. I think that is possible. I think you can write it down, but you have to indicate that it is outdated and you are unable to take the test due to corona. So I think what you can do is actually write it down and actually give your Korean embassy a call and inform them of your situation so that they can have like a mental idea of who is it that they are talking to, and then maybe during the document process, then they will have to like a mental reminder, okay? So Eliza Pagerim says, my high school transcript grade is printed in long bond paper. Will it fit? Should I fold it? From what I know, Alyssa, you are applying via the university track, right? So I think for you to be able to actually mail it to university, then I think you have to make sure that it fits into like a envelope that can reach the university. So I think that you might have to fold it, but if you are worried, I hope that you are giving a copy of your high school transcript. I hope you're not giving your original transcript. So you might have to fold it. If not, you have to call the university to check how they will want it. I think they would need it to fit in an envelope for it to be delivered to the university, okay? Hi, Yan Ranga, Yan Yu. Hi. Please give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel, right? Young Marga says, does Photocopied documents such as graduation certificate needs to be colored, or will black and white photocopy suffice? I think black and white is all right as long as you have already notarized your documents. You have to make sure that it is notarized by a notary public and that they recognize that, oh, it is a certificate that is legitimate and something that they have something to look back on. So I think black and white is fine. You don't necessarily have to do it colored. You get what I mean? All right. So yes. Is there any more questions? Please keep your questions coming. I am here to answer your Q&A. So please, please, please keep your questions coming. I'll be answering all of your questions. So basically what I did was I actually just went through the whole guideline with you guys. For those of you who are... Zara, another question. Thank you. Zara, where are you from? Are you applying for the 2021 undergraduate scholarship? I think it's my first time seeing you here, Zara. Have you been to my live or have you watched my videos before? I have quite a lot of interesting videos, so go check it out. Do you guys have any question for me about the application process, or you can just pop me any questions about studying? Should I type my language study plan inside the box or my own format? You will have to type it inside the box, okay? From what I know is that they give you the box, so you have to fit it in the box, and when you submit it, I think it is a lot neater as well. So yeah. You guys can ask me any question as well, like regarding like grades, how is it studying in Korea? Is it difficult? Is it challenging? Am I dying? Am I like surviving? You know, Oh, great. So Zara, I wish you all the best. You can, I'm doing quite a lot of live Q&A here about KGSP. So if you have any questions while you're applying, make sure you pop them here. I'm more than happy to reply. Christina says, is there a minimum GPA? Like for example, yes, on the guideline, they actually mentioned that you need to be of 80%. So that is of 3.2. I'm not sure where you read it before. If they say that 2.64 is okay, then I am not sure. You have to check with your embassy. From what I know, they have quite a high standard for the GPA because after all, this is a scholarship. They are hoping to get like intellectuals and like talented people to, not talented people, what I'm saying like people who have like studied hard, studied well to come to Korea to pursue their further studies. Okay. So you're welcome, Zara. So Aryan says, yes. So Aryan, what's your question? Can you like leave your questions in the live chat? Okay, Laiba. Joe, please tell me what is the thing that makes you different from other candidates and make the embassy choose you? So actually, I think a lot of it came from my study plan and my study plan. So I actually made a very in-depth video of how I actually wrote my study plan, my personal statement, and my statement of purpose. So please go and check the video out. It's the #2 video of the KGSP series. It is a whole series of KGSP, which is very in-depth, and how I did all my application, how I went through the interview, what were the questions that were asked for me. So I think a lot of it came from my personal statement and how I explained my desire to study in Korea, my field of study, and what is my research that I want to carry out in the future. So I think a lot of it plays a part, and I think my Korean actually helped me as well. I got TOEIC level 6, so it definitely helped, I believe, and I was awarded the 3rd place in the Korean speech contest that was organized by the Korean embassy in Singapore. So I think that helps as well. So I hope that answered your questions, Laiba. Fatima asked for we should delete the instructions in, for example, personal statement. Yes, I think if you are hoping to do so, I think you can delete the instructions. It doesn't really matter because it can give you a few more lines as well. So yes. Eliza, in the award section, should I write it all? I have 2M2M. What does 2M2M? Are too many? I wrote about 17 awards. I didn't write all of my awards. I just chose what was relevant For example, I wrote like a lot of my academic achievements. I included my dean's list. I included my topic proficiency test. I included my speech contest, Korean speech contest, and my academic achievements that I received, like top like whatever percent in my cohort, that kind of thing. So yes, Hillary, hi, welcome back. So can I just legalize my document in the issuing institution, or I must get it notarized in the notary public? You would have to get your documents notarized at the notary public. This is very important. The Korean embassy emphasized that they want it to be from a notary public. So to be sure, you should go via the notary public. But if you want to check it out, you can always call your embassy and ask them about it. So Laiba asked, how much time will it take to get topic level 5? It really depends, actually. For you, if you have no background in Korean, then I would say that if you are working really, really hard, I would say maybe a year or 2. But if you are already like fluent in Korean, I think you would just have to work on your grammar, your writing skills. Then it wouldn't take that much of a time for you to get to topic level 5. Yes. So Aryan says, what if we get our high school graduation script plus score script in April or May? Then that might be an issue. Okay, that is a very important thing that you have to take note. I think this is when you have to really call and check with your Korean embassy, because this is something that I can't give you my full answer on because I'm not from your country. I'm not sure how the whole system works, and it is always better to be safe. So Aryan, I advise you to call your embassy to make sure you are aware of like what is their requirements, and I think that they will be able to understand the current situation as well. So Shema says, hi from the Philippines. Yeah, hi. I'm in Korea right now for those of you who are interested. Hachiro says, I'll apply through university track, but my country doesn't have a quota for it. We just compete for the 9th quota among all those countries that don't have it as well. Do you think it matters? Let me take a look, okay? So from what I know is that for those who are applying via the university track, what country are you from, Hachiro, again? Yeah, I think that, okay, for example, if you're applying, if you're fighting for that 9 quota, then that might be a very fierce competition, which is why I would sometimes advise for if your country is available via the embassy track, I will always advise you to go via the embassy track. Hachiro, I hope that helped. I would say that it matters in the sense that I think a lot of people are going to be applying and fighting for that 9th spot. So maybe if your country is available via the embassy track, then maybe you should try the embassy track instead. So Eliza, I didn't include everything. I just chose what was important, and I included a total of, I think, 17 certificates, I think, if I'm not wrong. Ayushi says, we get our high school transcript by April, May. That's the biggest problem. Okay, so this is where I always mention to check with your Korean embassy, because it is something that I can give my 100% on. Because if I give you like the wrong information, it's going to be causing you guys problem. So please make sure you check. AZ says, if the awards or certificate is not related to the major that I choose to study, should I submit it? Yes, I think that it doesn't matter. It is good to just show whatever certificate that you have. Don't worry if it is not related to your study, because I didn't submit anything that is related to Korean studies. I didn't major in Korean studies in my undergraduate days. I just submitted what I had. So don't worry, easy. You can just submit whatever you have. Laiba says, it is a plus point to show them that I did a part-time job. I don't think it is a plus point, but I think it is something that can show the scholarship panel that you are you are someone who worked really hard besides studying. You are working hard to make ends meet, and maybe it is a proof to say that, okay, you're maybe from an underprivileged background and you're working really hard to make sure that you are being very financially independent. So I think it is not really necessarily a plus point, but it is more of like a advantage, I would say. It's more of like a get to know you better kind of point. Okay, so Hachira, you say you're from Peru. So is Peru on the list for the embassy track? Let me have a look. Okay, embassy track, you have 1. So that is also quite a fierce competition as well. So I guess you have to make a very wise decision on either the embassy track or the embassy track. Okay, so Sheila may ask, is that really need to originally submit them? Yes, so I already explained this in the earlier part of my live. So Sheila, please go and watch it when I save my live. So yes, you have to submit a copy that is notarized. Yeah. So Kyra Sila asked which track is best, embassy track or by university track. So Kyra, I actually explained this in the beginning part of my live. Please go and check it out if you want to see the details. I would say I advise via the embassy track because it is a bit simpler. You don't have to do all the administration stuff on your own, but I explained a lot more in the beginning part of my live. So please go and check that out when this video goes up. All right, and if you guys are new, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. It is very important to me because it means that I'm doing something right, and it gives me the motivation to do more live Q&A for you guys in the future as well. So please thumbs up, thumbs up. By Pasha say, please discuss about the study plan and language study plan. I actually already made a video about it. I did the second video about how to write your study plan in my KGSP series. So please, please, please go and check that out. I'm not going to be explaining it here. I did a very in-depth video that, so please go and check it there by Pasha. Young Riga says, I've been a subscriber since the first video about your KGSP series. Hi, thank you for subscribing. Do you think it is still necessary to add a timeline in the study plan? They mentioned it in the 2020 guideline. So for me, because I was doing I was applying for my master's degree. So what I didn't even write much about my study plan. I wrote like one paragraph, and I mentioned that in my first semester, I want to do this. In the second semester, I want to do that. So that is what I did. So I think if you want to make sure that your study plan is more structured, then maybe adding a timeline might be more efficient, and it might help you structure your study plan better. So I hope that helps, Yen Raiga. Mary Vincent, hi. I want to know that the people who apply for... can you explain yourself, Mary Vincent? I'm not sure what you're asking. So please give me more details. Kyra says, I'm from India. Can you please help me how to apply for KGSP? I did a very in-depth video on how to apply for KGSP, Kyra, so please go and check it out. It is the first video of my KGSP series. It is very in-depth. I went through one by one, so please, please, please go and go through that. And if you have any further questions, please leave it under the comment section. And I will reply it to you, okay? So Hillary says, the guideline says to send 3 sets of photocopies, but embassy in my country only requires submitting 1 set of original documents without photocopies. Which terms do I follow? Hillary, have you tried checking with your Korean embassy? Do you give them a call to double check with them? It might be false information. From what I know, usually we will have to send out 1 original copy, 3 sets of photocopies. That is because they will need to send those photocopies to the 3 universities of your choice, which is your choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. So that is why they require your photocopies. So that is why I would say that to check with your Korean embassy to be really, really sure. If the Korean embassy tells you that, okay, you don't have to submit 3 sets of photocopies, you just need to submit 1, then you follow that set of instructions. I hope that answers your questions, Hillary. Jarina says, sister, after you reach the airport there, how do you manage to find the destination where you wanted to go? Hi, Jarina, you are new, so it's really nice to see you. I just, from what I know, if you are a KGSP scholar, they arrange like the whole process. Like once you reach the airport, they will bring you to the language school. They have a bus that is for you guys. And currently, because of coronavirus, you have to go through like the whole quarantine thing, 2-week quarantine. So I would say that they have a bus or a van to take you guys to the quarantine facility, so you don't have to worry about that. Rohit says, hi. You are new. Hi, please give this live a Q&A a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. And this is my Instagram handle. For those of you who are interested, I update my daily life there. If you guys are interested to see what I do on a daily basis, what I eat on a daily basis, how studying in Seoul National University is, please go and follow me over there. and I'll be doing a lot of updates about where my upcoming live is going to be. So please go and follow my Instagram so that you guys can know where my live sessions are going to be. I'll be doing like a lot of live in terms of teaching Korean, basic Korean for those of you who are interested. I'll be collaborating with my boyfriend, who is a Korean teacher for foreigners. He's a Korean university master student who is majoring in teaching Korean for foreigners, and he is a real expert. So I think it'll be great for me to get him on board to teach you guys as well. So Ayushi says, there will be online classes for those who be selected for language training. So if you guys are going through the language training program in February because of coronavirus, we are not sure how things are going to go. Currently, we are all doing online lessons, but if like the whole coronavirus dies down, then maybe we would go through like face-to-face classes again. So yeah. Naim says, hello, I love your YouTube content and I want to ask about the birth certificate for my parents since they have the IC. Is it enough? Hi, Naim. Thank you for loving my YouTube content. It is a pleasure. Actually, there are a few options in the guidelines that I explained before. So please go and refer to this earlier part of the live. You can choose passport copies, yada, yada, yada. So I did passport copies. So I make sure that passport copies were used because it is a lot easier. But if you're submitting the birth certificate, then you might have to get it notarized by the notary public. All right. So Rohit says, Hennu, what's happening here? Where are you from? Hi, I'm from Singapore. I'm currently in Korea. I'm doing my master's degree in Seoul National University. My major is in Korean studies. So yeah. By Pressure says, thank you for your efforts. My pleasure. It is a pleasure for me to help you guys. I know how it feels to apply for this scholarship. There is a lot of things that need to be done. When I was applying for my KGSP, I did not have much help because back then there weren't much information on YouTube or online. So I felt that it was good for me to share my information with you guys and help those of you who are in need. So yes, I just hope to get the scholarship and meet you there in Korea as a KGSP scholar. Thank you, QCs. My pleasure. I hope you guys can get the scholarship as well. I hope you guys can meet me here in Korea and I can do like a whole video saying like, hey, these are the people that I talked to on live and they are here in Korea. It's really interesting. Jarina says, thank you so much, Esther. My pleasure. You're welcome. Laiba says, Joe, please tell how to choose universities. All right. So for this, it is really depending on what university or what major you would like to do. For example, if you're hoping to do like maybe humanities, then maybe you have to look at maybe like Sungkyunkwan University, Yonsei University, Korea University, or Seoul National University. Or if you are hoping to look at design or like visual arts, then I would say Hong University is much better maybe in that sense because they are really renowned in the area. So it really depends on your major, to be fair, Laiba. Hillary says, actually, I got the information in the official website. Thank you for answering. No problem, Hillary. Thank you for always coming to my live. I remember, the names and stuff. Jeremy Parma says, I want to apply for undergraduate in arts, but currently I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree in accounting and finance. So along with my application, Janvi, if you are already doing your master's degree, if you're already doing a bachelor's degree, I'm sorry you can't apply for your undergraduate. You can only apply for the graduate degree. So in the guidelines, they have already mentioned that for those of you who are already pursuing a bachelor's degree or are going like basically studying in a university, you cannot apply for this undergraduate scholarship. I hope that you get a clear view of that. If you graduated from your bachelor's degree, then you can maybe apply for your graduate studies, like a master's degree, under the KGSP scholarship. Yeah. So Hachiro Akira said, what questions were you asked in the interview process? Hachiro, I made a very, very in-depth interview video on my channel, so please go and check it out. I shared the questions that I will ask, my questions that my friends will ask, so please go and check that out. Yeah. Shamira say, hi Joe, hi. I will have to watch from the beginning later. I was late. Don't worry, I will save it for you guys. Last year, the future plans of the study wasn't a different essay from the plan of study. It is this year. How do we go about it? So I think what the whole scholarship panel wants this time round is they want you to explain more about your study plan. So you just have to explain more. So from what I know, for this year's the undergraduate application, you have three. They want you to write within 3 pages. So I would say first page, second page, third page for each section. So it is really important because I think it is good for you to explain more, elaborate more. In the previous years, I think it was very short, like it was really limited. So I had to really be concise, and I felt that I couldn't explain myself more because of the limit, the space limit. So Samira, don't worry, just explain what you have to do. Give very in-depth explanation of what you want to do after your study, how you're going to be studying here, what's your study plan. Make sure you give like a really, really in-depth explanation, because I think that will help the scholarship panel get to know your plans better, and it will help them kind of evaluate you better as a student. So that helps. I hope that helps. Ranga says, despite applying for undergraduate, I actually talked about broad research proposals that I hoped. Do you think this is wise? Yes, I think it is a good point about what you want to like research on, but I don't think that if they don't have like a statement of purpose for you guys, I think you don't necessarily have to zoom in on that, because it might take away the space that you can talk about something else. So please make sure that you are using your space wisely. I'm really sorry, guys, if I'm drinking water, because I'm like, how do I say it? My throat is really dry because I'm like speaking so much, you know. I'm sorry, okay? Priya says, thank you so much for your efforts. You're welcome, Priya. Priya, it's my pleasure. Jorina says, you're really awesome, sister. You spare your precious time. My pleasure is something that I can do to help you guys. So please, what you guys can do is please like this video. It means a lot to me. Please go and subscribe to my channel, because I have a lot of videos there. I do vlogs, I do study with me, I do how my life in university is. You can follow my Instagram, which I'm going to leave it here, where I just share my daily life with you guys, all right? So Laiba says, I'm from humanities. Please suggest me a university. If you're looking in humanities, I would say that Songkyungkwan University is a good university. Seoul National University is good as well. Basically, a lot of the universities in Seoul are actually rather good in humanities. But if you're asking me for specific universities about humanities, you can look at Seoul National University, Yonsei University, Korea University, Songkyungkwan University, Gyeonggi University has a lot of humanities as well. So I hope that helps. Shaina Joshi says, should we post all the documents, even the recommendations and passport copies and all? Shania Joshi, as mentioned, if you're talking about passport copies, I explained in the earlier part of the live that you might not necessarily have to notarize it. I explained this whole section in the earlier part, so please go and check this out when this video goes up. All right. Priya says, you're so pretty, Joe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Christina says, how does the syllabus work apart from your major? Do you choose other modules classes as well? Yeah, you would have to do a few modules. There's a few like must-do modules for your major. You can also do modules classes from other majors as well. So I hope that helps. Shana Joshi says, how hard is topic? It really depends. I say that sometimes it is difficult in terms of like the grammar, but if you prepare well for it, then I don't think that that is going to be an issue. Naeem asked, I want to ask if go understand embassy track, we have to choose 3 universities. So if we choose 3 different courses under 3 universities, so how to write future plan? Is it okay to compare all 3? If you're going to be choosing 3 different majors in 3 different universities, then I think that you would have to state in your, maybe it would be best for you to write your future plan according to maybe the first choice. I think you have to explain why this school is your first choice. So this is when you have to, I would advise you guys to kind of like apply for majors that are kind of related, if not the same. If you're not applying for the same major, best is to apply for 3 like similar majors that would be useful for comparison actually. Yeah. So Bonglet says, what specific awards did you mention for the application? Hi Nicole, I actually already explained this part in the earlier part of the live, so please go and check that out. Shania Joshi says, where do you find the universities to apply for KGSP? I checked their site, but I'm confused. In studyinkorea.com, it actually already has this whole site for you guys to go and check it out. So please go and take a look there. So this is the website. Please go and check it out. Jorina Blessy said, do you have any idea about psychology course? I think Seoul National University, Korea University, Yonsei University have psychology course as well. Yeah. So Hillary says, it says that Form 4 must be put in an envelope along with the letter of recommendation. So will Form 4 be collected separately and the document arrangement will be from Form 3 directly to Form 5? Nope. So what I did was in the form, I put it accordingly. So Form 3 and Form 4 with my recommendation letter and then Form 5 at the back. So I hope that helps, Hillary. But if you are still worried, always check with your embassy. Yeah. So Bongkla says, do you know how many KGSP applicants does the SKY unit accept? I'm not sure because they don't necessarily show the information. They go by the countries. But from what I know in my school, in my GSIS, where I'm doing my master's degree, I have quite a few KGSP students as well. I think around maybe like 40, 50. Not 40, 50, maybe 20, I would say. 20, 30. Yeah. Sheila says, I know this is insane, but is it okay if in my personal statement it would be fine to write my two major like arts and design and psychology? Is it okay or not? I think it is all right if you're applying for both schools. You just have to justify in your personal statement why this major, like you're going to be looking at arts and design and psychology. You have to look at both. Sheena says, if you get topic 3 in your country, do you still have to go through the training program? I think I'm not really sure, but from what I know, I have a friend who got topic 4 and she was exempted. You have to check with your Korean embassy about it. From what I know, it's either topic 3 or topic 4 that you can skip the training program. Yeah. So Naim asked how to calculate the GPS since my SPM results. I actually already explained this in the early part of my live. Naim, please go and check it out. Museum says 4.23 is my CGPA. Which track is better? Because embassy is highly competitive. Museonix, it really depends on what country you're from. As I mentioned in the earlier part of my life, which you need to go and check it out, it depends on like the quota for each embassy track quota and the university track quota. You have to see which one is more competitive. Liva say, do we have to pay some money to apply for the scholarship? You don't have to. It is free. So you just have to submit your documents to the Korean embassy, Liva. So I hope that helps. Is there any more questions, everyone? So for those of you who are new, please, or who have not give me like a thumbs up, please give me a thumbs up, yeah? Musenix, you say that it is 3 for both. Then I think that maybe university track might be better because it might be more complicated. So people might choose to go via the embassy track. So maybe the university track might be a more beneficial for you in the sense that it is less competitive. It really depends. Shisha Joshi, but I have heard that if you get even topic 3 in a country, you have to get topic 5 in Korea. From what I know, I have a few friends who are topic level 3 and they're doing their studies in Korea. So I'm not sure where you heard it from, Joshi. So it really depends. I think from what I know, my friends topic level 3, they're doing their studies in Korea as well. So yeah. Bonclair says, do you know cliches that we should not mention in our essays? What do you mean? Like, for example, can you give me some example? Naim says, what about the accommodation? How to choose them wisely? Because it must be expensive, right? Naim, I actually already did a live on that. It is in my latest live about expenses. Please go and check that out. It really it depends on how much you want to spend on your accommodation. So please go and check that video out. Achiro Akiyoshi says, what Korean course book do you recommend us? Hi, Achiro. So in my fourth video, I did a whole in-depth video about what I used in my university where I learned Korean formally, officially for the first time. So I actually did a whole recommendation of books there. So please go and check that out. Hachira, I hope that helps. Aryan says, which university is good for sciences? Sciences, you have SNU, you have Korea, you have Yonsei University, you have also just basically a lot of the schools in Seoul is actually good for a lot of different majors. So I hope that helps. Joshi asked, what are the pros and cons of KGSP? I don't think there are much cons about KGSP because, oh my God, Matthew. Pros and cons of KGSP. I would say that pros is that it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. A lot of you are paid to study. There's no bond. I'm not required to stay in Korea after your studies. So yeah. Shana Joshi asked, Hillary asked how to prove that we come from underprivileged backgrounds. I don't think that there's a way to prove your underprivileged background. I think all you can do is write in your personal statement and maybe say that you are from an underprivileged background, but it didn't stop you from studying. And I think that it will help in your personal statement. Naeem says, it is okay if you don't take the topic at your own country since we have to learn it for 1 year, right? I'm sorry, Naeem, what do you mean? Are you saying that if for example, okay, all right, so I think I get what you mean. So if you don't have a topic level, I hope you bear in mind that in the guideline it mentioned that if you don't have a topic level, it means that you are not given the extra 10% of preference. But if you're hoping to do the 1 year language program, then yes, you can just not take topic in your home country because you have to take it after you do the 1 year of language course. I hope that helps. Please remember to like this live and please keep the questions coming. I'm here to answer all of the questions. Hi guys, any more questions? Please keep it coming. You can ask me about not just KGSP, you can ask me about my life in Korea. You can ask me about how is it studying in #1 university in Korea? How is it studying in Seoul National U? How is the discrimination here? Is there discrimination? Or how did I survive here in Korea? Just drop at me questions. I'll explain all of them. Yes. So yes. My experience in South Korea. What kind of experience are you talking about, Jorina? Are you talking about my study experience? I would say that studying here in South Korea is a very eye-opening experience. I come from Singapore, which is quite a competitive country in terms of academics as well. But I would say that South Korea is rather similar. But I would say that because I'm doing my master's degree, so obviously a lot of the academic rigor, it is a lot higher, a lot more difficult. And because I'm doing Korean studies, which means that a lot of my courses are in Korean, I have to be really working really hard in terms of like new Korean vocabulary, making sure that I am studying real hard to make sure that I can keep up in class, although I do speak quite good Korean. Stresses asked, can I take recommendation from my present work supervisor? Yes, but if I would always say that it would be good to get recommendation from your high school teacher as well, because they will be able to give a fair assessment of your grades, and I think that is very important when you're applying for the KGSP scholarship. Bon Class says, how do you feel when you're applying for KGSP? Were you confident? I felt that I was all right. I felt that I gave it my best in terms of I really wrote down my personal statement. I read through it a billion times. I made sure that it was concise, and I guess I just submitted it in the sense that, if it's mine, it's mine. If it's not, I would just try another year. I don't think that you guys need to give yourself so much burden in terms of like, I only have this year. It is every single year. So don't give yourself too much burden. If I always believe that if it is meant to be yours, it's yours. So don't worry. Nayan says, what about the professional there? Is it okay if we want to continue to work there after our graduation? A lot of the companies here in Korea are actually looking out for international students because, as you guys know, a lot of big corporations here like Samsung and like other companies like LG, they are always looking out to venture into the international market. So obviously being a foreigner would be good if you're fluent in Korean, if you're fluent in English, if you're fluent in your home country languages, it would definitely be of some help. Next, Shisa says, so after the 1 year Korean training, you get to learn your master's, right? I heard that. Yes, so if you're talking about undergraduate courses, and it is important that you get topic level 3, because I have heard of a lot of cases where people have been sent back to their country because they didn't meet like the topic requirement. So yes, if you have a total of 1 year to get to topic level 3, a minimum. If not, you'll be sent back home. And yeah, so that's something that you have to bear in mind. So Sheila says, experience in South Korea, like culture, meeting people, and how you survived it. For me, I actually really enjoyed my experience here. I have a lot of Korean friends because I'm majoring in Korean studies, and people are really nice. But at the same time, I'll be really frank and be really honest with you guys. There's still discrimination here in South Korea, as in other countries as well. I think discrimination is very inevitable. It's not just here in South Korea. Discrimination is in many other countries as well. So it is not a bed of roses, I must say, studying here in Korea. It's something that you have to adapt. I had to really get to know. I was really depressed in the beginning, but afterwards I came to terms with it, and I am fighting those discrimination, and I am working really hard on my YouTube channel to prove a point here as well. So I hope that helps. Music says, can we send documents through mail for? Yes, you would have to send your documents through mail via the university track, I think. What is POSCO? Joshi, can you enlighten me on that? Jorina says, what advice would you like to give us before we come to South Korea? It's a very good question, Jorina. I think a piece of advice is to work on your Korean. Basic Korean would be good as well for you to survive here in Korea. As much as people are speaking English now, I must say that people are still more familiar and more comfortable with speaking in Korean. So it'll be good to know like basic Korean. If you guys are interested, I'm going to be doing like live sessions about basic Korean for those of you who have no background in Korean. And I have a very expert who is a Korean teacher for foreigners, and I'll be asking him to join me as well. So stay tuned. And yes, so Bon Clark says, what do you think is the most important thing that you mentioned in your essay that made a big impact? Thank you. I think my research topic was something that really, really helped. I think I explained why I really wanted to do this topic. It is something that is relevant in today's Korean society. And I think that it is because maybe I can contribute to the Korean society that they felt that, oh, this person is of some value to the society, and I think we should give them the scholarship as well. And I think me speaking Korean as well is something that was really of some help. Yeah, so moving on. Eliza, during the interview, is it okay to speak both English and Korean mixed? Eliza, if you're interested in the interview, I actually did a very in-depth video about the interview process. I did mine in English despite speaking good Korean. That is because I felt that I could express myself better in English. But if you're feeling more confident in Korean, then go ahead. But I would suggest you to stick to just one language. Sahira says, which subject is best for simple subject students? I don't really understand what you mean. Can you explain more? Hachiro says, do you think my Korean friend may be able to write a recommendation letter on behalf of me? No. Your recommendation letter needs to be written by a professional, like your teacher or someone who is of professional terms that can help you write. So you cannot get your Korean friend to write your recommendation letter for you. I'm sorry, Hachiro. Hillary says, I heard it is quite difficult to find Korean friends. Is it true? I don't think so. It really depends on how willing you are to step out of your comfort zone. For example, if you are going to be really worried about speaking Korean, then I think it will be difficult. But for me, because I don't care if my Korean is wrong, I just learn along the way. That's my philosophy in life. I think that if you are willing to step out of your comfort zone, then you will be able to make quite a few Korean friends. And they are really nice as well. A lot of Koreans are actually really nice, and they are really understanding if you are not able to speak Korean well. So yeah, don't worry about that. Music says, what are some good universities outside of Seoul for physics? Physics. KAIST? Busan University? No?
good, but 서울에 있는 게 훨씬 좋아.
Okay, so if you're answering your question, Musenix, if you're going to be looking at universities outside of Seoul, I must say just maybe KAIST. I can't really say much. Maybe like Busan University is good, but compared to the universities in Seoul, it is not as, like, the gap is quite big, I must say. So Nia Joshi says, what about masters? Do they send you home for masters as well? I really meant, yes, they send you home regardless of undergraduate, masters. If you don't get your level 3, you are going to be sent back home. And I've seen a lot of cases. I thought it was not true, but then I met a few cases where they were required to go back home because they didn't get topic level 3. So bear that in mind. Sarah says, I have one more question. Can I write my personal letter in Korean but study plan in English? I would say just write it in one language, okay? If you are trying to prove that you speak good Korean, your topic level proficiency test will be able to prove that. So yeah. What outline do you use on your essays? Please go and check out my second KGSP video. It's a very in-depth video about how I actually wrote my essay. So please go and check that out. Born Glad. It just says what Korean studies do. Okay, so basically, if you guys are interested about Korean studies, it is actually, we learned about Korean history, Korean culture, Korean life cycle, Korean politics, a lot of things. We do like democracy, a lot of things. Anything that is related to Korea, you learn about it. Yeah, so I hope that answers. Can we send documents through email for university training? No, I don't think so. I think you only can send it through mail. Arina says, thank you for giving your time even though it's around 12 a.m. in Korea right now. My pleasure, don't worry. Bongklad says, what should we avoid when writing a personal statement and statement of purpose? Bongklad, I said, please go and check out my video. It is my second video on my KGSP series. It's a very in-depth explanation there, so please go and check it out. Hillary says, in your opinion, what makes Korea different from other countries? What is the best and worst thing about Korea? So I think for me, it is because I have always been interested in Korea since the age of 9, which is why I studied Korean on my own since the age of 9. So for me, coming to Korea is one of my dreams come true. But if you're hoping to look at other countries, there are a lot of countries elsewhere. But I must say that Korea is an up-and-coming country. I'm sure you guys are aware if you're keeping up with the news. A lot of Korea's companies are actually doing really, really well right now. And of course, BTS, how can we forget? K-pop is doing really, really well as well. Tell me if you're a BTS fan as well. I'm a fan of BTS. I love them as well. So I would say there is not much to say about the worst thing about Korea because it is very subjective. I can't possibly pin one thing. It is very subjective. I must say maybe if you're going to be talking about worst thing about Korea, I think maybe sometimes if you might face some discrimination if you're coming from a Asian background, if you're not Western background, then yeah. So there's still a white privilege here in Korea that it is very inevitable, not just in Korea. A lot of countries still have this white privilege. So I hope you guys bear that in mind. Musinit says, can you show us your grade transcript or tell us how it looks like? It just says A, B, A, B, A, B. Like this module A for this semester, first semester, this module is A plus or A. Yeah, that's how it works. 9 says, do the recommendation letter should send the seal with 1 original and 3 copy of it, right? Which means 8 from 2 teachers, 4 recommendation letter each. What do you mean? It's actually just 2 recommendation letters from, and then you have to ask. Basically, you ask your teacher to write you 4 copies. So yeah, total of 8. So 4 copies, and then yeah. So I've been really interested in Korean history. How can I mention it? What do you mean, Musinix? What do you mean about how do you mention it? You want to write it in your personal statement or not? Sheena Joshi says, what if you get topic level 3 from your home country? They won't send you back, right? Do we need to get topic 3 in Korea? If you get a topic level 3 in your country, then I don't think you would have to go through the whole training program. But if you're going through the training program and you still don't get topic 3, then that is when they will still send you back home. So what is the most important is the topic 3 in Korea if you're taking the training program. So I hope that helps. Bongklet says, do you get a lot of free time even if you're studying in the top uni? I think no, but I think I'm good with time management. I do a lot of things outside of school. I study and I think that my grades are good. I am getting A's and stuff, and I still do YouTube for you guys. I'm filming videos, I edit videos. I still have time for my hobbies. Like I do rock climbing, I do cooking, I do baking. So I still have a lot. I think it's just about time management. Yeah. So Easy says, I'm a BTS Stan too. Hi! Mutinic says, how can I mention my interest for Korean history in my personal statement? I think you can just say that you are interested in Korean history and you have always been interested in Korea. And I think it's just to show like a passion about Korea. So I think you can just mention it like a little bit here or there, and then just explain it and link it to maybe the major or study that you want to do. How do you when you're alone there? If you're asking me about how I think you get lonely when you're here. It's inevitable. You're in a foreign land on your own without your family. It is easy to feel lonely, but I must say that it is important to build a close network of friends who you can talk to. I have a very close group of friends who I can, because they're all KGSP students or they're foreigners, so we know like each other's like problems and we will talk to each other about it. So don't worry about it. Petra says, I wear glasses and have astigmatism. Should I mention that on the self-medical assessment where they ask about that? I don't think that they asked me about my astigmatism there actually. So I don't think it is an issue. Zara says, I got a recommendation letter from a Korean, but they didn't say it. Yes, it will be rejected if there's no seal. So Zara, please go and get the seal from the company. It is very important. Hilary says, do you do part-time job? No, because it's very complicated to do a part-time job if you're a KGSP scholar. And I don't think you might. I doubt you have a time because it is quite tedious as well. So if you're curious about why I said that it is tedious to do and complicated to do a part-time job in Korea, please go and check out my first 3 live. I explained a lot about it there actually. Bangla says, for undergrad, should we have a work experience? I don't think it's necessary. If you have part-time job, maybe. I don't think it plays a very big part. I think it just shows that you have some experience in the society. Spy cam in Korea is getting worse. Do you feel insecure about it? Do you use some kind of prevention? Yes, spy cam in Korea is something that is quite a big issue here in Korea, especially in like public toilets. I think I do feel insecure about it coming from the perspective of a girl, you know. I think what I do is usually, for example, when I go to a public toilet, I try to check for holes on the walls to make sure that there are no holes, to make sure that there is no chance of having a spy cam. And if there's holes, girls will usually just wrap some toilet paper and like stuff it in, and then they will like they will just block it for each other. So that's something that you can do. But I think that a lot of the laws are actually coming up real strong about clamping down on this spy cam, so don't worry about it. So how about the, what is it called? Araf says, if both parents prove necessary. Yes, it's necessary. I explained in the earlier part of my life, so please go and watch it. Naif says, how about the part-time job? Is it okay? I'm not doing a part-time job here in Korea, so yeah. Chanel Joshi says, can you make a whole video regarding the whole topic confusion thing? Because I've been getting all sorts of issues. I'm explaining it to you here, Joshi. If you're coming to Korea with, even if you have a topic certificate, but if you're going through the whole 1 year of language program, you will still have to do a topic exam at the end of the program. And if in that topic exam you are not getting topic 3, you'll be sent back home regardless whether you have a topic level 3 before you come to Korea. The most important thing is, after coming to Korea, and if you're going through that 1 year language program, what is the most important thing is that you get topic level 3. That is the thing that they are looking at. Okay, so Hillary says, thank you for this live. Don't worry, my pleasure. Please remember to give this thumbs up. Kais isn't in GKS. Is Jeju Uni good for physics? Is Jeju Uni good for physics? My assistant.
제주는 잘 모르겠어. 제주는 일단 국립대.
National. So Jeju University, we don't really know much about it coming from a Korean himself. Basically, what we can say is that Jeju University, I don't recommend it because it's really far off. I would just say that maybe if you want to do it, maybe go to Daegu, like the university in Daegu. What's the number 1 in Daegu? Gyeongbuk University or Busan University. Yeah, because it is a national university and they probably have a lot of subsidies from the government. Priya says, how do you manage to get straight A's? Please drop some study tips. By the way, who's your bias BTS? I really like V. I think he's really handsome. So that's my take. Please drop some study tips. I am going to be, I think, okay, how do I get straight A's? I think it's time management. I make sure I don't study all day. I make sure I have a good balance of like doing like spare time to do my own hobbies and like exercise and do climbing to make sure that I'm not getting burnt out from my studies. But at the same time, I do study hard as well. So yeah, I hope that helps. I'm going to be doing a lot of study with me. So if you guys are interested, I think study with me will help you concentrate a lot better. If you're looking at me like studying real hard, hopefully you get some motivation. Araf says, do I need to submit my mother's and no, you need to submit both parents, Araf. I hope that helps. Nai says, were you okay with the environmental changes, like when it comes to food, weather? This is a very good question, Naeem. So I come from Singapore, a country where it is 365 days of summer. We don't have winter. So I almost died when I first went through winter here in Korea because it gets really, really cold. But after a while, I got like used to it. But for food wise, they have a lot of Korean food. They don't really have that much of Southeast Asian food or Singaporean food. So what I do is I try to cook as much as I can at home. And yeah, I think it didn't really hit me that much. I think I adapt quite well to new environment. So yeah. Bonga says, would I still have a chance even if my awards are only from my school or I competed with the school from my town? I think it is still valid. It's still a very important thing that you have awards. So don't worry about that. Hachiro says, how do you label and number your documents? Hi, Hachiro. So in the guidelines, they actually told you how to write it. Please go and take a look. It is actually to write it in the top right-hand corner of your documents. I also explained it in the earlier part of the live, so please go and watch it from the beginning if you're curious. So Zara says they said they didn't have to seal, but can the recommendation letter still affect my application? I mean, can the committee do some kind of exception since it's from a Korean company? Can you work as a bonus? I think the sale is still really important. I think that if you're worried, because the recommendation might end up getting your application disqualified. So please, if you're worried, please go and check with your Korean embassy and call them in advance before the application closes so that you still have some time to work around it. So yeah. Bongla says, advanced tips for those countries with a lot of strong competition. I will always say to write a very good personal statement of purpose and study plan, which is why I made the second video about how to write a good study plan, a good study statement of purpose. So please go and check out my second video of KGSP. A little of GK about which tablet do you use during your studies? I use iPad. I use iPad Air 3. Yeah, the latest Air one. I prefer because I felt that the iPad Pro would be a bit too expensive. So since I still have my MacBook Air, not MacBook Pro, so I just bought my iPad Air 3, I think. So yeah. Is it okay if you want to try entertainment auditions even though if you are still KGSP scholar? I think you can still try, but then things will get a lot more complicated in terms of visa if you get selected. So please bear that in mind. Hachiro says, do you use white stickers to label and number your documents? No, I just wrote it. I just write at the top right hand corner. If you want to make it neater, maybe yes, but I didn't see the point of it, so I just wrote it there. Ingrid says, thank you, my pleasure. Don't worry. Yeah, you seem to be new, Ingrid. I've never seen you before. Nice to meet you. Zara says, I have 2 recommendation letters with a seal on them and 1 letter from a Korean company without a seal. Yeah, so I would think you will have to call your embassy to tell them about the Korean company without the seal. So please go and check with them because it might cause your application to be disqualified. So yeah. Joshi says, in short, language training is compulsory even if you have gotten topic 3 before. Okay, thank you for answering. No problem. If you're still worried, I think it is always best to check with your Korean embassy because they will always give you the best kind of information possible. So yeah. Is there any more questions, guys? Please keep coming before I end the live session. For those of you guys who are new to this channel, please go and follow my Instagram because I do a lot of updates of when I'm going to be doing live sessions in terms of Q&A for KGSP or study with me live or eat with me live, mukbang with me, a live chit chat, or basically if you're just curious about my life in Korea, please go and follow me there. But I just want to make sure that I make this clear. A lot of you guys have been texting me on sending me DMs on Instagram asking me about KGSP. I don't really reply to those DMs because there's a lot. So please, if you have any questions about KGSP, please ask me on my YouTube videos. You can leave it in the comment section because I will always reply to these comments because I don't see like my DMs that much. So please take note that down, okay? So yeah. Mr. Nick says, can I write my personal plans in my future plans? Like if I want to do some kind of work in the future, or it sounds like I'm trying to pursue them. I think you can write it down. You can write it, show them that you have a plan for your future. You know, I've already planned out my life for the next 5 years, next 10 years. I'm a very motivated person. I'm working towards my goal. I think it's all right. So you don't have to think about it. Yeah, 4 says for 4. Yes. Priya says for yes. Priya says, thank you for the tips. It helped me a lot. By the way, I joined you in my Wednesday study with me. Yes, I remember seeing you. Please do more study with me. Yes, I do a lot of study with me. So for those of you guys who are hoping to, like, gain some motivation, you can come and join me. Or if you are, I will be doing some mukbang with me as well. So if you guys are to, like, gain some motivation, you can come and join me. Or if you are, I will be doing some mukbang with me as well. So if you guys are interested, you can come and join me as well. Yes, yes, Zara, good. Thank you. Ingrid says, have a good night and weekend. Thank you for the live. Don't worry, this is my pleasure. Please remember to give this Q&A a like. Videos are coming up. I'm going to have my final day for Kunsan, my travel vlog. My final day is coming up soon. Please leave me lovely comments. Please like the video. And of course, I'll be doing how to learn Korean. I'll be doing Korean videos as well. I'll be doing study with me, study tips. I'll be doing a day in my life, or I'll be doing like a week in my life in Seoul National University. So a lot of interesting videos are coming. So remember to subscribe, yeah? Eliza says, can I say that I'm planning to proceed to medicine in another country after I receive my bachelor's degree, which is in physical therapy? Yes, I think you can always state that you have a future plan ahead. You have a bigger vision in mind. I think it is good as well. So next, Museum says, what if my future plans sound all a bit too much for an average person, like super ambitious man? Don't worry, Museum, you're not an average person. Don't worry about that. Every single person is unique. And I think it is important. It is good to be ambitious, and I think that it is important to show that you have a plan. Why don't you upload dance covers? I upload dance covers over on my Instagram, actually, because if you guys are interested, I will upload dance covers if you guys are interested. I'm not sure if you guys are interested, actually. So if you guys want to like leave me suggestions on what kind of videos you want me to do, mukbangs, talking about Korean news in English, what is the uptrending like news or like scandal here in Korea, you can leave it there. I will take a look and maybe draw some inspiration on like what I can do for my future videos. If the quota is 3 under the embassy track, is it competitive? How to be the best one? Okay, so coming from my own point of view, when I applied for my master's degree, there were around 50 applicants, and eventually there were 3 who were chosen. So I was one of the 3 who were chosen. So I think to be the best one, I think interview plays a really big part, which is why I made the interview video for you guys to share how I aced my interview, how I made sure I was calm, and of course the application document is important as well, but I also feel that the interview process is also very important. Bonka says, do you know, Business says, please upload dance covers on YouTube too? Okay, I will. All right. Or maybe I'll probably upload like, all right. Or maybe I'll probably upload like a compilation of the dance covers that I did before on my Instagram, and I'll compile it and then I'll upload it onto YouTube for you guys, all right? Bonklet says, do you know if there is an essay where I can use it as a reference to learn from it? I didn't use a reference technically. If you're interested, you can always check out my video, which I shared on the KGSP series where I talked about my specific structure. Eliza says, is it okay to put only 1 paragraph and the rest is timetable for my goal of study and stuff? Yes, I think it's all right. I don't see any issue about it. As long as it is well written, well structured, I think it's all right. Listening says, and I love girl talks too about Korea. All right, so leave me suggestions in the live chat. If like tell me what you want me to do in the future, mukbang, or if you want to do like beauty, like Korean beauty, makeup, whatever. dance cover, eating like Korean food that you want me to try review, or maybe if you want me to eating like Korean food that you want me to try review, or maybe if you want me to review certain Korean products, let me know. I will do it for you guys, right? So are there a lot of classes taught in English? I think there are some classes that are taught in English, but at the same time, you have to remember that Korean is still the main language that is done. So Naeem, how many interviewees during the interview is going on? Please go and check out my interview video. I talked about it over there, Musinix. Musinix says, like, spy cam or your stories in Korea. Sure, I have a lot of stories to tell if you're interested. Alice says, other interviews are done online. If it's university track, do I need to go to Korea personally, or is the interview done in the embassy? I think if it's the university track, they might do it via online, since coronavirus is making things a bit complicated in terms of travel. But what I know is for the embassy is definitely done. If you're going via the embassy track, the interview is done in the embassy. Bongla asked, can you do a tour? What do you want me to do a tour about? I actually did a travel vlog about Kunsan, which is a province in Korea. If you're interested, you can go check it out. Sheila says, is it easy to learn Korean language? I think it is rather easy. And I think as long as you get the basics right, it is definitely quite easy to pick up. As the Korean foreigner, is it difficult to have a job in Korea? I don't think so. As long as you are fluent in Korean, English, or another language, I think you'll still be able to get a job here in Korea quite easily. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Please keep it coming, or you can just leave me suggestions about what you want my future videos to be. Or yeah. So Pierce, if you're interested in everything you love to do, I personally love your vlogs, how you study Korea and study with me. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Like, you know, like, thanks to you guys, my subscribers are increasing, and it really means a lot to me because, you know, I'm still a really small baby YouTuber, and it means a lot that you guys are enjoying my videos, and I'm doing a lot more videos and doing a lot of content planning as well. So I hope you guys are patient with me. But at the same time, because I started school and I'm in my final year in a master's degree, so things are getting a bit tough in terms of academics. So I hope you guys are patient with me if there isn't like videos. Patient with me if there isn't like videos are not coming that often. But if videos are not coming, I'm definitely going to be doing live. So don't worry, I'll be either doing cook with me, eat with me, mukbang, or like study with me. So yeah. Can I use last year's recommendation letter? I'm going to be doing hopefully more vlogs with my friends here in Korea in terms of like international friends, Korean friends, and I'm going to share with you guys what we do. Maybe I'm going to go like hiking, you know, vlogs for you guys, because now I know that coronavirus is making things really difficult for you guys in terms of traveling. So I'm hoping to share like the beauty of Korea through my vlogs with you guys. So I hope that it will help. I'd like to say thank you for answering my questions. I watched so much of vlogs, and I noticed you're very beautiful with your heart. Thank you so much. It means a lot. It's just something that I hope you guys can enjoy. If you guys are feeling stressed out from KGSP, go and check out my travel vlogs. You can heal with me as I go on a holiday. You can come on a holiday with me. Q&A about yourself and how you and your boyfriend met. Yes, I'm going to be doing that. Maybe I should do that video when I hit 1K subscribers. So please, please, please help me reach 1K subscribers. Yeah, guys, it means a lot. And please thumbs up. Naeem says, it is actually quite helpful. Thank you so much, Joe. You're welcome, Naeem. My pleasure. It's really nice talking to all of you. I hope you guys are doing well. Please stay healthy. I know coronavirus is still out there. So please, please, please wear your mask and please be healthy. And I really, really hope to be in Korea the day you guys are successful in the KGSP application, and I can see you guys here in Korea as well. So basically, this is my Instagram for the billionth time that I'm saying. Please go and follow me there. Go and check out my stories because I update my stories very regularly and I do share what I'm doing day to day. So if you're curious, and I do a lot of updates about when I'm going to be uploading a new video or I'm going to be doing a live session, then that is going to be basically my main outlet of talking to you guys. So yeah. So, but if you're going to be asking me about KGSP, please ask me on YouTube because I respond to my YouTube comments a lot faster than my Instagram DMs. Shadian asks, I'm asking which subject is best for those students with arts subject. If you're talking about visual arts, then Hongik University is rather good. If you're talking about humanities, then any university in Seoul is good. But if you're looking for like the best university, SKY, Seoul National University, Korea University, Yonsei University. All right. Musenic says, please upload more often. Yes. My final day of Kunsan vlog is going to be coming up really soon. I'm hoping to be uploading it next week. I'm doing up all the subtitles, English subtitles, Chinese subtitles for you guys. So please make sure that you guys can help me like the video, watch my videos. It means a lot. My watch hours is important to me, but you guys are the most important to me, my subscribers. So Hajira says, I didn't understand what I asked before. Can I use last year's recommendation letter? So sorry about that. I think you would, from what I know, Hachiro, the recommendation needs to be quite updated, and it needs to be like signed, and needs to be like, there needs to be like a date written by the recommender. So if you are curious, I think it is always best to ask your Korean embassy, because they would be the one that will be most suited to advise you on what you can do with that recommendation letter. Nine says, is it the music courses are very demanding in Korea? Is there by any chance to get a job there? I think music courses are quite demanding in the sense that there are not a lot of schools that might have that. I know Seoul National University has a music course, but I know that the competition is quite intense. If you're talking about getting a job in terms of in the music industry, then it might be a bit difficult unless you have a good portfolio. Yeah, so I hope that helped, right, guys? So is there any other question? Last call for any questions? I'll be doing more Q&A live as well, so don't worry. If you have any more questions, you can always leave it in my YouTube videos. I will always reply it there. What about the Korean language and literature? Is it demanding too? Yes, I think that it depends on the school that you are in terms of like if you're going to be SKY, then obviously things are going to be very competitive and demanding. But if you're looking at maybe like another school, then it might not be that difficult. But what are the most suitable jobs for Korean language? I think you might look at looking at companies who are dealing with like literature, or you can look at companies which are doing with the Korean market, or like you can look at translation. I think it will help as well. So I hope that answers your questions. So is there any more questions, guys? Remember to follow me on my Instagram for more updates, and a new video is coming up really, really soon. So remember to subscribe to my channel. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up, and go and watch my KGSP series as well, because I have a lot of in-depth information there that I did not really explain in this Q&A. So I hope this Q&A has been useful for all of you. Thank you for coming to my live. It really means a lot to be talking to you guys, and thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. Please stay healthy, and I will see you guys really, really soon. So bye. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye. I'll be uploading this. Thank you for the information. No problem. Excited for this journey. Good luck to all of us. Good luck to all of you guys who are going to be applying for the scholarship. And don't feel too stressed out. If you guys need some help, I'm always here. You can always leave me comments, and I'll always reply to whatever you need, or you can ask me on my Q&A live sessions. I will do it for you guys as well. Okay, so bye. Have a good rest, everyone. Have a good day ahead. See you guys. Yes, bye.